Bellow on the bellow on the bellow. Bellow on the bellow on the bellow.
Yeah, the real shop talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the real shop talk. Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Real Shop Talk. It's Monday, 8 p.m. You know we're here every week, same time, same place. And guess what we have this week? It's Ladies' Night. We got the ladies in the house. We're gonna have some fun tonight. We're gonna just normally we'll have a topic and we'll talk about some things that may tend to be a little more serious. But tonight we decided that we just want to have fun, ask each other some questions, some things, some that inquiring minds want to know, things we want to know from the ladies, things that ladies want to know from the men, and kind of keep it light or light-ish. I don't know what the questions are, so you never know where we're going with this. But I'm glad you're here. Everybody in the comments, I see you coming in. Welcome back. Next time you come, bring a +5, and make sure you go to the YouTube page. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell and hit that thumbs up if you like the content, so we can beat these algorithms because they never on our side. We want to make sure that we're ahead of the game. So without further ado, normally you'll see two other gentlemen up here. Gunter Man is out living his best life, as y'all say when we're off doing the Lord's work. So he's out doing the Lord's work somewhere in Florida. And Tony Massey, he said that he's going to try to come in a little later, so we're expecting him to come in. So we're going to keep it moving. Normally I introduce the fellas, but it's ladies' night and we are gentlemen. So we're going to go down the line. And what I'm going to ask you to do, ladies, is just tell us who you are and a little bit about what you do. If you have something going on, and let us know so we can, if we need to push people to you, we will. So we're going to start with Tamika Jones. I love that last name, by the way.
Yeah, and you better. Hey, everybody. I am Tamika Jones. I am the owner of Atlanta's own Blink Mink Lash Bar. And so I am your favorite lashtician, as they call it. That's really all I have going on. Work is what I have going on.
All right, Angie, you're up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angie Renee, and I show Black women how to unlearn self-sabotaging behaviors so that they can attain loving and sustainable relationships. If you see a hashtag floating around that says Angiology, that is me. I am the original. So I kind of, put my sarcasm in there. I'm very witty. I'm very candid, but at the same time, I let those opinions across, how I feel and my thoughts about everything. So that is who I am.
And last but not least, Kiki.
How you doing? I'm Kiki. I am an actual payroll professional by day, and then I play a comedian at night on TikTok by creating comedic skits on TikTok. I don't do anything else, but I do need advice from both of these ladies here, for sure.
That's pretty dope. I just got into the whole TikTok thing. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I'm learning as well. I'm trying to get in there.
I can show you ladies some tips.
Yes, please.
Please do.
I literally just started really posting heavy like in the past couple of weeks, but I've been avoiding it forever. But I know that you got to be where the eyes are. So we're gonna just do the gentleman real quick, and then we're gonna get into this. First, I'm Derek Jones, and I'm the host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast. I'm also a certified life and relationship coach, and we do on this show, we're about building community, and I believe you can't have community without family. So I do my little part to try to make sure that we keep this thing going instead of this war we got going on between the women and the men these days. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to John Singletary.
All right, I'm John Singletary, the host of the Help Myself podcast. And I do that at night. During the day, I'm a military man by trade, speaking of war, and I'm here with my co-pilot, my son, the hottest autistic DJ in the land. So if y'all hear songs going on in the background, that's him. So
Nephew, cut it up today, please. Hope he's playing some oldies but goodies. I'm Tony Watts. I am the host of Triumphant TV. I also co-host Monday Wake Up every Monday morning at 6 a.m. We bring inspiration and life. Triumphant TV really brings a more level topic about what lies ahead, what life looks like, what life could look like, mistakes that was made, mistakes that can be healed. So we talk about everything there. We'll definitely be circling around to a couple of you guys to invite you to the show.
Absolutely. So, first, one housekeeping thing. If you can remember, when you're not talking, go on mute because we have so many people on stage. So I'll try to anticipate echoes and all these other kind of things. So, if you can do that, that would be great. So let's do this. Any lady want to go first with their question? Anybody just jumping at the bit? Because I can pick. If not, okay, Tamika, Angie, go.
What's the question?
Your question. Didn't Tony? Hold on, unmute yourself, sir.
Wait. Did you read the last email that I sent out that said we were going to ask questions and bring your questions? You missed that email?
It's fine. I'm off the dome. So
okay, great. So, that's what we want.
Okay, so my question would be, when does a man know that he's actually ready for a serious relationship and or marriage?
Great question. Wow.
You want to take that,
Immediately, right now.
Yeah, I don't play.
Well,
I wasn't ready, but I was ready.
All right. So, real talk, a man knows. You'll hear a lot of guys say, "I knew when I met her," because it's just a vibe that we get that we kind of know what we're looking for and what we want to pick. She has that flavor, if I can use that old term, that draws us to her, and the personality starts to fit. We start to fit together, and we kind of know early. So when I hear people in 10, 20-year relationships, I'm going, you really, I don't know what y'all doing unless y'all decided to do that. Most guys have gotten married. You will ask them, when did you know? And they will tell you. I would say over 70% will say, I knew first time I met her.
I want to go. So this is not, of course, not every man, but I think, and of course, there's definitely not an age, because age is definitely not a factor as far as maturity or when people are ready. But I would say for me, it was when sex was not the primary factor. When I would go out to meet women, and it was the other things that mattered first, even though we all wanted, when that was not the driving factor, I was able to open myself up to receiving the information I needed. And I think that when you're at that point, then you go into what Tony Watts was saying. When you're there, then when you meet the person and you actually start to engage them, and that is not the number one priority, then you can say, I kind of felt like I knew when I met her. But if the sex is the primary driver, everything else gets clouded. So it's hard to discern when you're ready, when that's driving you. And that you could be, y'all see these men out here 70 years old still in the club because they still looking for the priority being that. So that was something that I had to realize going the initial way for a long part of my life, and then stopping the behavior, detoxing from that, and saying, I need more. And then once I got into that space, the things that I normally would go for, I'm now vetting them, and I'm like, nope, you're not coming over my house on day 2. I have things to lose now. And then that's when I met my wife, because we were both in that same kind of energy. So I hope that makes sense.
I have a question to kind of bounce off of what Angie was saying. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about marriage here, right? And how does a man know? But when you're in the dating phase of this, how do you know when you want to take it further? When you want to take this from, okay, how many dates do you go on before you know, okay, I want to make you my girlfriend? How many times do you go out and see each other? How many times do you sleep with each other? Does that make sense before you finally say, okay, well, let's move this forward? Because nowadays you're dating and it seems like it just depends. It could take anywhere from a few weeks to a few months to, God only knows, a year. And now people well, usually dating is multiple people, but you don't fixate on one person. So how long does it take men to decide?
I'm gonna jump in first with that one. I think it's a communication situation where you kind of fill each other out to see where you stand. Like if you want to, again, it don't take a whole day to recognize sunshine. So if you want to move into a relationship, right? I think what I hear a lot of women say is that, hey, Tone, I don't know what's going on. Like we hanging out together, we doing our thing, but he hasn't made it official yet. I'm going, why don't you ask? Oh, I don't want to upset our vibe. And I'm going, well, you're allowing him to make a choice for you that, and you want a choice for something else. So you have to make that conversation to say, hey, I want to get serious. Like I dig you. I want to, I want to primarily see you. So that way, if the person says no, I'm not into doing that, then you have a choice. You're not sitting around trying to just figure out, hey, we have fun all the time. We go out on great dates. And some guys out here dating like they're in relationships. They're taking you they're taking you on vacations. They spending money, but they still doing their thing on the side. So if you don't have the conversation of what we are, right? That's always the hard conversation. What are we? You're going to put yourself in a situation where you're going to get hurt down the line. So I always tell the people that I speak to that you should ask the question up front, because the worst thing that can happen is the person say, I don't want to be involved. And that will free you up from the BS later on.
Am I allowed to say something that has nothing to do, like it's not a question? Because I have something to say about what you just said, Tony.
Go ahead.
Let's go. That's why we're here.
I'm not asking a man, what are we doing? I'm not asking a man, what are we? I'm not doing that. It completely goes against my femininity. I'm not asking. If he's not showing me that he wants something further and making his intention clear, I'm not going to be the one to ask. If that's the point, I might as well get down on one knee and ask him to marry me, and we definitely not doing that. So,
all right, so
like, I am not asking, what are we? Where is this going? Let me know I'm not doing it.
So I can appreciate that, right? So in Kiki's question, she said she mentioned sex, right, and being involved for a year. So if a guy hasn't said in a year's time, this is what we are, how do you define what that looks like?
If he doesn't define it for me, I'm only speaking for myself. Y'all heard what I said. This is just angiology. All right. These are my thoughts. If he hasn't made it clear, stated his intention within, I would say, like the 6 months to a year, I'm out. I'm not finna stick around now. Don't get it twisted. Okay. I'm not sticking around. So I'm not asking. So it lets me know that he don't want anything.
So you'll give him 6 months to figure it out?
6 months to a year. Okay. To at least let me know. I'm not saying to propose. I'm saying to at least give me something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need something to know that it's getting serious and we're not playing around. That's what I'm saying. I just want to be clear, right?
But I'm talking about dating, though, not a relationship. Dating, like when you go out with a man and you exchange numbers. You're not going out to dinners, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And sometimes that can take time. How long before it's okay? Well, we're going to take this seriously. We're going to make it exclusive. And I agree with Angie. At some point, I mean, we can't do everything. We can't do.
Yeah, I'm just not asking. Like, and here's the thing. Like, and when I say this is not from a cocky standpoint. I've never even had to ask. It's always been the man to say, "Hey, this is what we doing." Like he's made it clear to me that he wants something serious or wants it to go further or whatever the case may be. It's always been the man to let me know that. So maybe that's why, I'm completely biased on that whole, well, what are we doing? I mean, we've been dating for 6 months to a year. Like, it's not a Lifetime movie for me, baby. Like you gonna let me know what we got going on. And that's just what it is. I feel like, no, I'm not a man, but from the men that I know and talk to and trust, like that's what they do as well. And they've told me that, you know what I mean? A man knows, like y'all just said it. A man knows, even if it's not for marriage. Let me be clear. He still knows if he wants something serious with me or not. So with that being said, I'm not going to just be lingering around and trying to figure out and asking you what we doing. No, baby. You going to let me know what we doing. You are the man. You are taking the lead. And if you're not taking that lead and don't want nothing serious, then I'm just out.
So let me ask you a question for that one. So you're dating a guy month 7, and he hasn't like stamped the official that we're official, is everybody else is gone, it's just you and I. How do you walk out of that? Like how do you work that out?
I just simply walk out. See, here's the thing. As a woman, we have to learn how to not become so attached. I just leave.
Okay.
I stop answering calls. I stop because again, I am not going to verbally say, text, inbox, or nothing. What are we doing? I'm just not doing it. Right. So if he has not shown me or stated anything within I don't want to give it a time frame per se, but usually a man knows if he wants it to go further than where it's at, is what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Like
no,
we're not just doing the little getting to know each other stuff still in 6 months to a year.
Okay.
No. And I'm definitely not going to be giving my body to somebody. And it's just I'm just not doing that. But again, that's just me. I don't know. I've never had to do that. I've never had to ask, beg, give ultimatums. Nah. I'll just leave.
Okay.
Yeah. John Secretary, you got any comments?
Why you trying to throw me into this little hot spot, man?
I want you to feel left out, sir. Tony Watts hit the mute button, please.
Yeah, Tony Watts went over there, man, and started, he started all that trouble, and then you want to throw me in the fire. I come in peace. I agree. No. So yeah, I do agree. I think a man, so I kind of got the feeling with the question, I don't think it was intentional, but yeah, a woman shouldn't be in a position where she's wondering if this man is serious. A man needs to be mature in himself. So how that goes is it's not how many dates. Once a man has decided in himself that this is what he's looking for, when he goes out and he's dating or he's meeting people, he knows what he's looking for at that point. It's not, I met her at the club, I think I'm gonna marry this one. Does it happen? Yes, but is that the the ultimate way that it should have, or is that the best way? But when a man decides, hey, I want to be this kind of man, I'm looking for a relationship, these are the things that I'm looking for. When he goes out, he knows early on. You know when you meet a woman and y'all have that connection. So now it's, hey, let's get to know each other to make sure that there's some compatibility here. But a man knows really early on, and he's just making sure, that his gut instinct was correct. So yeah, after 6 months, a woman shouldn't have to be asking, what are we? What are we doing? If a man really is serious, he gonna go and make it known, and he gonna go get what he wants. So
I'm gonna jump in real quick on this. 6 months too damn long. That's number one. Here's the thing about men. I'll say some men, because everybody gets crazy when you start sounding like you're talking about everybody. One thing you have to know about men, we are territorial. If I like it, I need you off the market as soon as possible so no other man can have you but me. Once I do my little vetting, I need you off the market. If I don't take you off the market, but I still want exclusive access to you, and you want to be in a committed relationship, that is now a you problem. It's no longer his problem anymore because you accepted the nonverbal contract. You are now unofficially his without any dialogue about it, because you are now thinking that the time spent and the money spent means you're going somewhere. You have no indicators that says that it's growing. It's just existing. And so when you say how many dates, he doesn't get to decide that. If you know what you're looking for and you have the dialogue and he says, I'm a relationship type of guy, I would hope to be someone's husband one day. I'm looking for that. And you spend 3 months with him and he can't feel like he needs to keep you to himself, then you got to walk. Because what he said does not match up with his actions. That's your job to realize that he said he's looking for a relationship. We 3 months, 6 months in, and he still hasn't even said girlfriend. He wants one, but not with me. So I'm gonna land my plane there.
Let me jump in there. I'm so glad that you said that, Derek. I actually was being nice when I had said the whole 6 months. I was trying not to be, I don't like to put a time frame on it, but at the same time, like you said, a man knows if he just wants you around to be that jump off, or if he wants something serious. Like y'all just know. So I'm not about to be playing with no grown man. All like it don't, because I know it don't take that long, especially if we're spending an extensive amount of time together. I noticed somebody in the comments said that his wife and him became exclusive after 2 or 3 months. Like he knew that he had to move it to lose it. And that's just the truth. And again, I'm not trying to be funny, but I've never had this issue. I thank God that I haven't. I've never had to ask, so what are we doing? I mean, we just been, I ain't never had to do that. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that I have the wherewithal to even know not to allow anybody to drag me that long without giving me any type of actions, intentions, something. I just don't believe in that personally. And like you stated, Derek, if it's something that I want, you know what I mean, then at that point, like you said, it's a me problem because he hasn't said anything. So if I stick around hoping, praying, wish it upon a star that he that at that point I have allowed it. I'm still allowing him to come around with no type of intentions, with no exclusivity, with nothing. I'm giving my body to him. I'm wasting my time with him. I'm doing all of these things with the man that has not made it clear. At that point, it's on me. You are absolutely correct, Derek. But yeah, I just want to clarify 6 months is actually too long, to be honest. But because a man definitely knows. And they definitely know with me because they already know what they're dealing with me. So yeah.
Tamika, any comments?
I've actually just been listening.
Okay.
And I actually did a live on Facebook a few days ago, kind of along the lines of this. I don't know if anybody watched it or not, Tony. Usually you end up chiming in. But I don't know. I kind of had a thought the other day when it comes to this. I think what's amazing to me is, and this is what I said in the live, is that we can go to a restaurant and be served a steak or whatever it is that we order. And if it's not prepared to our standards, what do? We send it back, right? But when it comes to our hearts, our peace, our relationships, we have a tendency to just kind of accept things. And it's so backwards. Like, why do we just accept things that are more important to us or should be more important to us? But when it comes to a meal and it's not served to our standards, our specifications, we'll send that back because what we say is, hey, I'm paying my money for this. Like, I'm not paying for that. And so that same stance is how we should be taking it when it comes to access to our vulnerabilities, our hearts, our joy, our peace. We should be just as invested and just as protective with our time. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think when it comes to that, I've never had that issue either. Unfortunately, that's not my story. Typically, any man that I've dated or who has entered into my life, as Derek said, they're like, hey, wait a minute, let me get my flag. We trying to mark this territory. Let's take her off the market. You understand what I'm saying? Because I am a firm believer. I stand behind this, and I 100%. Women have a fragrance. We carry a fragrance, and when it comes into a man's nostrils and it's pleasing to him, he wants that fragrance again. He wants her to be in his presence again, as often and as much as possible. And so,
if that hasn't happened, then well, what are we doing? But again, unfortunately, I don't have that story. But I would say if I was in a situation like that, where I feel like I have to ask, I wouldn't, because I think it's already answered. I think the question has already been answered. If I have to ask where we are, what we're doing, then it's pretty much already implied what we're at, and what we're doing. And then I have a decision to make. I'm the only one responsible for protecting my oil. Nobody else is responsible for that. You know what I mean? So when time is wasted, it's because I chose to allow my time to be wasted. So I think it's pretty much already answered.
And if you find yourself, this is just my opinion, if you find yourself in dating situations where you feel like you are not in control of what you will accept and deal with, then you got to do a boundary check. You might have to figure out what's missing, because especially women, y'all have way more control than you think you do. I just did a live about this the other day. I was like, all the stuff that he gets access to, he can't get it unless you say yes. And that includes your time, your personal space. If he's enjoying that without any qualifiers, and you like, y'all never had the conversation about, especially if you're over a certain age, time should mean way more now than it ever has in your life. You're going to sit 3 months, 6 months and not know? That's a long time to sit back and be like, well, we are having fun. We are spending time together. If that's your goal, to be the go with the flow, we just chilling, it'll just whatever happens one day. If that's what you want to do, have fun doing that. Nobody's judging you. But if you say, I'm looking for a potential husband one day, I'm looking for a long-term relationship, then the conversations have to happen. You don't have to say, do you want to marry me? But are you the marrying type? Would you like to be someone's husband one day? If he says yes, then his behavior along the way has to be like going like this. If it's going like this, you're going to have to do an evaluation and be like, not what are we doing, but do I need to stay here or not? Sir, your words aren't matching. We still eating chicken wings and Netflix every Friday. We haven't really had no, I don't know what's going on. Are we not having any extra dialogue now? We didn't talk for 2 days and you done like, so, that's just my little 32 cents. Tony Massey, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, I'm sorry. Apparently I came in hot. I apologize. I was rushing. I had to pick my wife up from the airport. So sorry I'm late.
We're glad you're here. Derek, you're muted.
No, I was saying, did you want to add into anything that you just heard, or do you want to just go to the next topic and start from there?
No, I'd hate to repeat someone else's brilliance. So let's just move on.
Cool. So let's do this. Any of the gentlemen want to ask one of their questions? If not, I have some video clips I have for them to react to. So I don't want to, hog it all to myself.
Let's go to the videotape.
All right. So let me see which one. Here we go. This is perfect. So ladies, this is what I want you to do. I'm gonna play this video. If you cannot hear it, I will give you the cliff notes at the end of it, but I want to get your first reaction to this.
A lot of women say that they want a lot of things. And some dudes feel like, okay, I got to meet them on every aspect that they want. And then they'll try to meet them on that aspect. And now she's no longer interested in you because you're born. A lot of them, I want a dude that's low key. I want a dude that's kind of ugly. I want a dude that nobody really, rock with like that or whatever. And then she'll get that dude and cheat on him with a dude that's lit and out here being toxic.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think, again, like, especially as a young dude, we got to own the fact that toxicity is attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Much as people that don't want to admit it. You will say that in a room full of women, they'll look at you crazy. But then you will look at their baby daddy, or look at the last 5 dudes on their body count, and all of them are toxic. Right?
It's scary. It's getting scary.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can you say that you want one type of man, but you're rewarding the complete opposite?
That's a fact.
And again, that's what I mean by like dating according to ideals instead of dating with what reality is.
Anybody want to jump in and give me your wait, we're going to Mika first. That's where we going.
Okay, so I have to say that there may be some truth to that for those type of women. I think the problem that we have is we have a terrible habit of trying to generalize men and generalize women. He can't speak for Tamika no more than he can speak for Angie, no more than he can speak for Kiki, no more than he can speak for Tony, Derek, and anybody else. But I do believe maybe from the women of their experiences, there is some truth to that. You understand what I'm saying? I think everybody dates, everybody's experiences are on the level in their life experiences that they've had. So they may have been dating women that have some toxicity or some attraction to a certain type of man because that is the type of woman that they are. And then we have to really be honest. Sometimes you don't even realize that a person has the level of toxicity that they have until you're well into the relationship. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody wakes up and be like, oh yeah, I want a deadbeat baby daddy. Oh, that's a whole other topic because I can go 5 stages into that. Or, a woman that is that has toxic traits or whatever the case may be. You really don't know until you peel back those layers of that onion, or those layers of life, that there is some childhood trauma, there's some rejection, there's some hurt, there's some disappointments, there's some different things going on. You don't really know that until you've invested a really great amount of time into that relationship. And for whatever reason, he or she stays. But yeah, do I agree? I'm sure that there is some truth to it for the level and the type of women that they have experienced. And I'm sure that you men can agree with that when it comes to a certain type of woman. You feel what I'm saying? Or man. So I'm laughing because I'm like, wow, there probably is some truth to that. As for Tamika, no, I don't sign up to date toxicity. I don't know anybody in their right mind that would. However, when you've invested time and those landmines are hit in the relationship and the bomb goes up, it's like, oh, wait a minute, where did this come from? And I think everybody has probably had that experience. So no, I think there may be some truth to it on their level, but on other levels, not no grown woman ain't signing up for that.
Any other ladies want to comment before we go to Tony Massey?
Absolutely. So, like Tamika said, there are some women that subscribe to that. And here's the thing why a lot of them subscribe to that, because that's who they really are. He said something key in that video. He said something to the likes of what they want that's ideal, right? So they will say, and this is just for analogy purposes, they will say they want a Denzel, when in all actuality, they know they want Chris Brown. Let's just be honest here, right? Analogy purposes only, people. Okay. So it's like they will say that they want this ideal man, but they are really absolutely attracted to the Chris Browns in the future. They love it. They get excited off of it. But because they're not true with who they really are, they won't admit it. So they'll say they want this particular type of man, right? But what turns them on, what gets their fire ignited, is this other type of man. So until that particular type of female that they are referring to, which is not, myself or Tamika, as she just stated, and I don't think that it's Kiki either, but I'll let her speak for herself. But until they meet the type of woman that actually knows who she really is, and not just posting stuff or saying something because it sounds good, like they're going to continue to run into that. You have to date a woman that is on your level mentally. What's happening is a lot of people, they're not dating who are on their level mentally, right? They're dating people that don't even have the same mental capacity as them. They don't even have the same mental bandwidth as them, but they like what they see though. Oh, they like what they see, right? Smells good and everything else, right? But you have to become mature enough to say, you know what? Yes, this brother looks good. Yes, this sister looks good, but her mental is just not there, right? And again, a lot of people don't know who they are. So they'll say that they want something, and it's not even really what they want. You have to really know who you are. A lot of us are not willing to do that work to figure out who we really are and what we really like. This is why I commend the men who say, I like the type of woman that has, these particular type of assets, or that, is a bartender, or that, is a stripper or whatever. And nothing is wrong with that. I'm just using this as an example. They will tell you that that's what they like. They're not hiding the fact, right? That's what this is more about. Don't hide what you really like. That's fine. Because there's someone out here for everybody, but don't be lying and acting like you want Claire Huxtable. When, come on now, you know what I'm saying? You're attracted to this because you end up marrying Claire Huxtable, but you end up cheating with Black China. Like, come on, get what you like. If that's what you like, that's what I'm all about, right? Don't lie. Get what you like if that's what you like, and don't care what anybody else has to say about it. Until then, what's going to happen is you're going to attract the people who you say that you don't want, but it really is who you want. So with that, I'll land.
Kiki, any comments before Tony Massey comes in?
Yeah, actually, okay. I think, how do I put this? Being a creator on TikTok and dealing with different types of topics, skits that I post, I've realized that I'm gonna say 90% of the population likes toxic. And I say that because if I put out a toxic video about me being crazy, it gets the most views. People love it. People love to share it. People love to hate on it. It's just what people seem to like these days. Now, as far as age goes in toxicity, like the older you get, I've noticed myself that I don't want it. I don't want it in my life. I don't like it. I don't look for it. However, the younger you are, yeah, it kind of just flows. It goes hand in hand. You get into a relationship, you're going to have toxic in it, which toxic could be anything, because it just depends on your level of what toxic is. You can, like Tamika was saying, you can get into a relationship and not know that somebody has, levels of toxicity in them. And I'm probably saying that word wrong, because it just depends. I could probably think toxic is consisting in yelling and arguing and fighting, while somebody else could be like, that doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? So it just depends at what age you're at, what level of it you can deal with, because women aren't the only one that do it. Men do it too. You accept a pretty girl with a pretty face, with a nice body. It could be fake hair, fake lashes, fake booty, fake everything. And she could be crazy as hell. And you'll be okay with that because you're like, well, I like this. This is my type. I like the girls with the long hair. I don't want to go with the girl with the short hair. I don't want the one that looks this type of way. You want this particular view because it's what most of us go with what we see first. In any relationship, you go first on what you see. So if I see you and I think you're cute or you're handsome, you think I'm pretty, you're going to go for that. You don't look at the level of crazy on me. You don't say, well, is she crazy off the bat? You just be like, okay, let me go and let's go from here and see what happens. Now, I may act out and go to a restaurant with you somewhere and act out, and you may be like, okay, I don't like that, but let's give it a second chance, because we all slowly allow people to give us their level of toxicity, if that makes any sense. So to me, most people are okay with being with other toxic people, or allowing it into their life at some level. Does that make sense? That's all I have.
The only reason I keep saying your name, Tony, is because I pay attention to how people react to things, and you had a noticeable reaction, so that's why I keep saying your name.
You know how I feel. I don't like hearing men under 35 talk about relationships, because I just don't really think they have anything to offer, just because they, one, they generalize, like Tamika said, and two, their level of experience is so limited to the real world. It's hard to even hear them through the vein of their experience, because it's so silly to me, right? Because these are the men who say, I don't want to be judged based on my past, but these are the men who judge women based on their past, right? It's as if we are not allowed to make mistakes. It's as if we're not allowed to get involved with people that we never should have. And when we talk about baby daddies, right? How these young men have this very negative attitude towards baby daddies. Where's that same smoke for the men who are who are, helping out in this process, because to my knowledge, there's only one woman that brought a child into the world alone. And, so where's the smoke for the men who are having unprotected sex with these women and creating people that they're not taking care of, or if they are taking care of them, they're doing it by proxy. So that's my issue. One thing I do, there's two things I heard that I like to point out, or three things actually. And since Kiki said it last, I want to address it first. You only get one time to act out at a restaurant with me. I'm done. I'm not going to put up with that. I'm just saying, I'm not going to see it. Okay, well, that's how she acted Papa Do's. Let me take her into somewhere else and see if things would be different. No, I'm just going to assume that wherever I take you, that's how it's going to go. The other thing was, the reason men cheat on Claire Huxtable with Black China is because Black China will cheat with those men. The Claire Huxtables of the world, very few of them cheat. We have to get out of this. I really think we need to abandon the notion that men always cheat with the women that they want. They cheat with the women that will cheat with them. They'll cheat with the women that are available. And they cheat because they can. They've created, they either had the opportunity to cheat and the desire to cheat, or they had the desire to cheat and they created the opportunity. And unfortunately, women of high caliber are very hard to cheat with, because most of them want to be the only person in your life. And if they find out that you have someone else, they'll end it. So we don't always, I'd say, pulling a number out of the air, I won't even use a percentage. Most of the time, men cheat with who they can cheat with, not who they desire. They marry who they want. They cheat with who's willing to cheat. And then the last thing I'll say is, when it comes to toxicity, I really think that we have to bring into play I'm one of those people that can draw 6 degrees of separation to any problem to slavery. And it isn't because I'm constantly stuck on slavery. I just think that it was such a prevailing issue in the lives of Black Americans that we have to understand that most of our trauma as a community starts there. And so the toxicity that we allow in our youth has a lot to do with the toxicity that we see in our youth. And it may not necessarily be in our family, but it is in our music, it's in our movies, it's in our communities. We see the couple that, like this whole idea of, I need a ride or die chick. I don't, because I'm not going anywhere where death is imminent. I just don't need that. It's okay for you to get out the car. If I'm going somewhere and I know death is coming, I'm going to ask that you get out. That way nobody's fighting over my stuff. So I don't need a ride or die chick. But that's the message that's being pushed through our culture. And so then we take those messages, we go out into the world and start dating in our 20s, and we adopt that mindset. And here's the interesting thing. At 45, I'm watching a lot of the rappers that I grew up with stand on college campuses with their hands around children who are graduating from college. Now, these are the same people who told me to get out in the street and get it. Those are the same people who talk about grinding and hustling and hoes and all this other stuff, but yet they're sending their kids to school. We have not, as a community, in my opinion, we have not learned how to separate fact and fiction. And the proof of that is in how we date, is how we interact, especially the younger generation. It isn't until we get into our 30s and 40s that we go, all that was lies. None of that was true. It was all not real. So we either get to a point where we're tired of it, we're tired of dealing with it, or we come to the revelation that none of this is real and I don't have to continue this spot. The Nino Browns of the world are not going to bring me happiness. They may bring me Gucci bags, but not happiness. But I can find the Poindexter brother out there who, is a whatever, who may get me one Gucci bag on sale at the Gucci outlet. But you know what I mean? But I don't have to worry about, it getting confiscated by the FBI or whatever the case may be. So I'll land there.
Hold on. So I'm gonna read a couple comments.
I say that because there's a Gucci outlet in Georgia. That's where I get all my wife's purses.
You're not supposed to tell everybody that, sir. You got to tell them you flew to Paris or something. So I'm gonna read a couple comments. Michelle says, Michelle Eugene said, those are young girls. A real woman doesn't have time for drama or BS. Love Tucker says, you age out of toxic trauma if you do the work on it. You won't age out of it if you deny the trauma and continue to get rewarded for destructive behaviors. Kimberly Young says, I firmly believe if both come into dating or relationships having worked on their own level of toxicity, it would make for a better exchange. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to open this up for one of the ladies to ask another question, and then we'll just keep it going. So whoever wants to jump. If not, I got videos for days.
This is for the ladies to ask a question, or the
we going back and forth.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go with that one. Ghosting. What is that about? What is the ghosting thing about? Why is it that people just decide that they don't want to no longer continue having a conversation with you at all? Like, just, you can't have a text message back and say, hey, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Hey, this isn't going well. Whatever the case may be, whatever reason you may have, like, what is that about? Why do people ghost? Why do men ghost? Put it that way. Because I don't know if women do it too.
Everybody does it, but I'm gonna let one of my other brothers. I got answers.
Derek, won't you take?
Well, when I say women do it, I mean as much as men, because I imagine women do the same. Men, we all do the same thing. I'm just saying, men seem to do it more.
What'd you say, Tony Watts?
I said, why don't you take that one?
I'm only taking it because I was a guy who did it a lot. Back in the olden days when we had like stage coaches and stuff. Not now, because I got the a lot of times, and I'm talking from a male perspective, it's like sometimes people meet you for nefarious reasons, sometimes not. But there sometimes comes a point where they want to detach from it, but then they have to think, if I tell this person that I don't want to be here, what's the likelihood of them asking me why? And am I going to stay here to give them all the reasons why I didn't like it here to make it kind of worse for you? So I'd rather, it's not, I don't condone it. I'm just telling you the psyche behind it. I'd rather just detach myself than to spend time on a conversation that I know is not going to go well, right? So I would rather you just figure it out. You'll probably end up calling me trying to figure it out, and I'm going to have to sit through all of that than to have a conversation to tell you why I don't like you. That's one reason. Go ahead, Tamika.
So, I am a very upfront and very, very honest person, right? And I had a situation, it's along the lines of, this, like in the vein, maybe not so much. So I had this guy that, wanted to date me, right? And I'm just going to be honest, like I knew personalities just didn't mesh well. Like there were so many cons as opposed to there were pros, and I knew immediately. And so I was pretty upfront, like, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I just don't think this is a good match. I don't really care for your personality. I don't like your jokes. I like nothing, to be honest with you. Outside of you being a handsome man, we have absolutely nothing in common. And he could not wrap his mind around that. And I don't know if it was a stroke to his ego. I'm not really sure what that was, but I was like, dude. And like he kept calling. And I'm like, sir, why are you still I'm trying not to be mean and block, but I'm like, we have nothing. Like our value systems don't line up. We don't have the same interests. Again, I don't like your humor. I don't like you. I don't like talking to you on the phone. Like we've tried, and I'm not interested. And so I did have to get to a place where I had to block him. So I just kind of feel like, yeah, it hurt. I wasn't trying to be mean though. I thought I was pretty nice about it initially until the Puerto Rican had to come out. Like I was like, look, okay. And so I just honestly think that when you reach a place where it's just not happening, you feel what I'm saying? I think that you should be honest. I gave all the reasons. You know what I mean? I was super upfront. I put a bow on it at first, y'all. I put a little salt and a little pepper on that at first. It didn't get to the knockout or the more stern Tamika initially, because I'm a super sweet person, but I'm like, how many times, why you still call me? You know what I mean? Like, why are you still calling me? Like, why are you still calling me? So, and even after that, guys, like I literally had to block him. I don't know what that was about. Maybe some of the fellas can answer, but it was just like, I was honest, I was nice. I did all of the warm fuzzies at first until I just had to like be mean. So I don't agree with ghosting. I feel like we're adults. I feel like it's okay. I mean, what you gonna do? Whoop me because I tell you I'm not interested? Just, hey, I'm not interested, and you kind of go your way. What's that face for, John?
Hey, Tony.
You go your way, I go my way. We don't have to waste time. We don't have to do this. But this guy I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
So Tony Massey, I want to jump in for like 30 seconds before you go. And I know Angie is always ready to go. So here's the thing. You just illustrated part of my point, Tamika. What you went through with that guy, right? What a lot of people do is they will experience that a few times. What you went through with him. And now when they go on the next date, they're waging their bets on whether this person might be just like this. So they're saying the only way for me to guarantee that I don't deal with that is to ghost. I am not condoning it. I am saying most humans don't like conflict. And some people will choose to ghost you, even though you may hate it. For me, the possibility of you being like that dude, it could happen. I don't even want to be a part of that. I need to just go ahead in it. So a lot of women that I talk to will say, well, I'm not like that, but how do I know? I have to wage my bets based on my personal experience. I didn't like the way it felt when I had to tell somebody a laundry list of why I didn't like them and how I don't understand why you feel that way. Hold on, man. Next one. I just Tony Massey, I think you unmuted.
I totally get that, direct.
Say it again. I thought I heard something.
Me or Tony?
No, I thought I don't know. So I thought I heard somebody say something, but maybe I thought it was Kiki. Maybe not.
Yeah, go ahead, Kiki.
Me. At what level though do we grow and become adults to where it's like, okay, not every traumatizing relationship is going to lead into the next one. You know what I mean? Just because this person did this to me doesn't mean that I have to react this way with another person, and doesn't mean I have to have my guards up every single time I get into a new relationship. Because maybe you need to go look in another pool section, where you're digging for dates, to stop getting these kinds of people if this is what you continue to get. Because it's something about you that keeps attracting these kind of people towards you. Because at some point, if that's the case, then I can base my next relationship off of my previous ones. I can say, well, I had a guy who did this, and you look like the type, you kind of smell like the type, so we're gonna stay clear of that type, just because I think you're that type. A lot of men don't like when women mix their ex-boyfriends with the new guys they're dating, compare them to each other, but then it's okay for me to ghost you because a few girls rejected me, or men, whatever it is. I don't understand the logic.
That's because there is no logic. See, you're thinking from a logical place. Most people are walking around emotional, traumatized. They're making decisions based on that. You're like, but logically, if they were this, you're talking about a healed person that knows what they want. And now these are not most people, they're not walking around saying, let me make sure that I exit this the proper way. They're like, I don't want to feel like that again, so I'm out. They're not going through that. They're not, I'm telling you, they do. Most people lead their lives based off emotional decisions. The logical ones of us took the time to breathe. So I'm gonna just land there. Anybody can come off the
Yeah,
mic.
I wanted to come in on that. I actually agree with you, Derek. And just like you said, what Tamika stated is exactly why. I'm not going back and forth with nobody. I'm not about to be explaining how come I'm not interested. I'm not about to run down a whole list of things that you did and said on why I'm just not interested. I don't owe anybody that. Like, we're not, if we were in something serious, that's one thing. I'm not talking about something serious. I'm talking about if we're in that getting to know each other stage, I don't owe you anything. And this is another thing. If we're in that getting to know each other stage, one thing about me, and this is actually something that I'm working on, I already give too many chances anyway. So with me, it ain't just one thing that you did or said. It ain't two, it ain't three. I've kind of like, oh, well, maybe I tend to justify things. Like, oh, well, maybe, maybe he was nervous. Maybe he, just was whatever, right? So I'm kind of giving you chance. You don't know that I'm giving you chance after chance, but I'm kind of giving you small opportunities to redeem yourself. After a while, again, I'm talking about getting to know each other stage. After a while, I'm like, I can't do this and I'm out. You're ghosted. I'm not about to explain to you the 20 things that you did and said, like Tamika said. Like, that would drive me nuts. My anxiety is not built for that. So I'm just gonna exit stage left. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're not about to be having a long quarrel and discourse, and we're in a getting to know each other stage. Like, you're not my man, I'm not your woman. I don't owe you that. And so that's my reasoning behind of why I have done it in the past. It hasn't been several times, don't get me wrong, but it has happened a couple times, and I'm just like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Those 20 red flags, and I'm just like, yeah, let me just go ahead and exit now before it gets too deep. So that's my reasoning. So with that, I land.
So I have a question about.
Yeah, man, I think we need to redefine what ghosting is, because I think sometimes we call it ghosting, and it's like nothing ventured, nothing gained, nothing lost. Like, we ain't even met the person in person yet, and you're like, oh, you ghosted me. Like, no, but I had a situation where I got ghosted. Like, we were tight, we were seeing each other every day, we were holding hands and all that, like, it was real, and then she just disappeared. Now, to me, that should be ghosting, but I think, like, you just meeting folks and getting to know them and falling off, like, I don't want to say it's acceptable, but my goal in life, and I put it in the comments, but my goal in life is not to be that guy that Tamika was talking about. Like, look, 2-3 texts, no reply, we done. Okay, I'm out. Like, she ain't interested. Keep it moving. So I moved and we redefine ghosting.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because what Tamika did, in my opinion, is not ghosting. To me, that was a offensive play, because I've made it very clear to you, I don't want to see you anymore. I don't think we're compatible. And now you're trying to plead your case, and I don't want to hear it. You're not going to change my mind. And even if you do you really want to be with somebody that you had to literally transform their whole thought process of you in order for you to? I don't want to be with you if your honest opinion of me is that we're not compatible. Then okay, thank you. I'm moving on. The question I have is, in the situation, so I've been ghosted where, like John, we've gone on dates. I thought everything was cool in the gang, and then all of a sudden, I can't contact you anymore. And I was confused and I was hurt, But to me, if that's how you handle things, then that's all I need to move forward and say, okay, you're definitely not somebody I want to get deeper involved in. I don't need you to explain to me why you took this way out, because it's not going to change how I feel about your lack of compassion or empathy or whatever for me to at least give me let me know we're not dating anymore. Because here I am down at the job telling everybody about you, showing your picture on my phone. Meanwhile, we're not dating anymore. I didn't even know, right? So I don't want to be with you anyway. So I guess the question I have, well, once we redefine ghosting, if somebody truly ghosts you, why do you need that explanation? And I've always had this question with, why didn't things, you owe me an explanation, why didn't things work out? Why does it matter? Is there anything this person is going to say to you that's going to change? I think of it like I applied for a job. They said, we decided to go with a different candidate. Well, why? What is it about my resume that gave you the impression that I couldn't do this job? Who cares? You're not getting the job. You know what I mean? And my critique of you is not going to necessarily impact the next person's critique of you. So that's why I do agree with you, Kiki, is that if Tamika doesn't like my jokes, which is ridiculous because I'm freaking hilarious, I know Angie will like them. I mean, she seems like a more reasonable person that understands humor. So I'm just playing. You really didn't like that joke, damn.
Go ahead, Tamika.
I was going to say, sometimes people don't know what they don't know. I remember being on a job, and I'll tie it back in. I remember being on a job one time, and long story short, she had terrible turnaround. And nobody would ever tell her, you're not easy to work for. You are A, B, C, and D. And I was the first and only person to call her to the carpet and tell her, hey, like, this is how you treat your employees. This is why you have terrible turnaround. You might want to, do an evaluation of yourself if you want to have employees. But she was shocked. I could still call her for a reference to this day because I was just willing to be honest with her. And so I think sometimes for me, I thought it was important because sometimes people don't know I'm perceived this way, or I didn't even realize I was, coming off this way. I didn't realize that, I was offensive when I, tell this type of joke or whatever the case may be. I just thought that it was important to be honest because I am sure somebody at some point in time maybe have given this same reference before. Hey, like your jokes are whack, or, when you say stuff like this, it's offensive, or whatever the case may be. And so at that point in time, it can't be everybody else. At some point in time, you got to be able to say, dang, maybe I do need to do a self-evaluation. That's not, that's not cool. So I sometimes think what you don't know is just what you don't know. And sometimes somebody just being honest with you can cause you to kind of do an evaluation because sometimes you don't know that a person may not know they come off as an a-hole, you know what I mean? But it may be received, by somebody else. So for me, I just thought it was important to be honest. That was just for me. Hey, I'm not feeling this. I don't think this is a good fit, and after doing that several times, that last time I was like, okay, I'm going to have to kind of be mean and maybe, this time, he'll kind of get the picture, and he did. But that's just for me. I just kind of felt like, maybe he doesn't know that he comes off very abrasive or very aggressive, when it comes to, maybe he doesn't realize he does. Either way it goes, it's just not, it's a no for me, dog.
But do you think he has, and I think Derek brings up a really good point, and I'm not challenging what you said. I agree with you 100%. I just don't think that the dating pool as a whole is mature enough for that to be a tactic that you should use on everyone. I definitely think that should be something you use sparingly, because I just don't, having left the dating pool, 3 years ago, I just found that there are more people, unhealthy people out there than there are people who have done the work to heal. And there's nothing harder As hard as it is to find someone compatible, it's even harder being a healed person, or at least in a stage of healing, I'll say that, trying to date. And so my honesty comes from a place of healing, because I'm at a place where I can be honest with myself and I can accept criticism and critique. And so now I'm going to apply that same logic to someone who may not even be close to where I'm at, especially since I'm rejecting them in the beginning because I've already seen things about them that I don't like. Is it realistic to believe that that person is going to accept your critique in the same way that your boss or your former boss did? Or are they going to go on the attack and make it, you know, this is just about you? And should you welcome that type of energy into your life? Is it worth it? You know, and again, I'm not pushing back. I'm just exploring that idea.
So he was the first and only person I've ever had that experience with. And I mean, the first couple of responses, it's like, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I didn't know that, you know, that was offensive, or, you know what I mean? You know, that experience, or, you know, we talked and, you know, I said whatever, it was offensive to you. I just, for me, at that point, I just wasn't interested, and I just kind of felt like I can be honest. I felt like I was able to be honest. And it wasn't until, you know, sometime down, you know, a month later, 2 months later, you call out the blue, and I'm like, nothing's changed from 2 months ago. You know, I'm still not interested. You know, you know, I could be a better man. I could be, and it's like, no, like it's there's somebody for everybody. I may not be for everybody, but I definitely am for somebody. Crackheads got somebody. You understand what I'm saying? So I just think that we're not a fit, and I'm okay with that. You feel you got to be okay. We're just not. I don't want to be bothered. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, after maybe the third, fourth time, you know, he got the picture. But, you know, that's just me. I felt like, you know, I could be honest, and I was. Now, whether or not it was received, you know, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I just felt like honesty was the best route as opposed to just ghosting.
Yeah, a lot of people can't take that. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't take that level of honesty. And that's unfortunate, but I'm happy that you had the conversation, and you know, I'm kind of sorry that you had to go through what you had to go through. I want to address Sassy Cruz comment. They say sometimes people want to know why so they can work on themselves. The problem with that is that why might not have anything to do with you. So you chasing them to find out why is going to frustrate you further when it's on them why they ghost you. Just take the ghost as Tony Massey always says, a no. The no is the most powerful thing somebody can tell you because it allows you the space to go do what you need to do. So just a Sassy Cruz, they don't worry about if somebody tells you somebody ghosts you. Don't like what we're trying to say is don't worry about the reason why, unless you have a toxic behavior. Like Tamika was saying, you got dirty jokes. Like it's just your behavior is off. Then you got to self evaluate yourself. But looking for someone to tell you why they did it, I would just alone and just take it as hey, that's a blessing. That's a door closed for me to move on and find the person that's right for me.
And you definitely don't want to start the habit of using other people's critique as a foundation for self-improvement. You will drive yourself crazy if you do that.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that real quick, because I literally talked about this like last week. We have to think about this. The person who is showing you that you are not compatible, you want to list from that person as to how you need to change so that you can be compatible for who? For them? Like they're giving you a list of what they personally don't like, and you're like, can you tell me exactly what I need to do to be better for you? It just like when you think about it, it doesn't make sense. Like I don't need that list. Keep it pushing.
I agree 1000%, Derek. Like, I don't need anybody to be validating me, especially somebody I've only been talking to for a few weeks. Like, I wish that I would be like, well, what is it? Well, why? I mean, look, that ain't coming out of my mouth. You know what I'm saying? In no way, form, or fashion. So yes, I agree with you. Like, no one needs that validation from someone that they barely even know. And who are they anyway? Right? To run down this whole list of why they're not interested in you anymore. I don't want to know. And yes, I've been ghosted before, but like, I wasn't all like, dang, well, I wonder what it was like. Move on. And that's that goes back to just knowing who you are. You know what I mean? You have to know who you are and, just keep it moving. And that's just what it is.
So can we go back to something real quick, really quick? We talked about how there are people out there that want the Claire Huxtables or the Russell Wilsons and so forth and so on. And we came to the conclusion that a lot of times people just don't know what they want, right? Would you be willing, and this is for the ladies on the panel, would you be willing to consider that they do know, but they know at this point in their lives, they're not ready for that level of whatever that person represents? Meaning, I'm still in a phase in my life where my wife and I talk about this all the time. I would have loved to have met her earlier so that I could have more time with her. But I know that had I met her earlier, I would have destroyed the relationship. I would have messed it up because I wasn't in a space where I could handle someone like her, right? Who she ultimately turned out to be my person, but 25-year-old Tony Massey would have just really messed this up, whereas 45-year-old Tony Massey is I think doing a pretty good job, hopefully. So is it possible that we know, some people just know they date certain people because they know they're at some, they would like to have that kind of person. They're just not in a space where they can handle that kind of person?
Yes, I believe that is true for a lot of people, men and women, right? Knowing that they would like this particular type, but they may not be at that stage in their life yet, right? Just like the example that you just gave, right? Like, that your wife is like, she is your person, but yourself. Had it been 20 years ago, you probably would have messed it up, right? You probably would have fumbled that bag. So I think knowing what we want and being sure that we're able to accept it and deal with it at that particular time is very important, because what you don't want to happen is, you get your person and they are, what you wish for, hope for, prayed for, but that you're not ready. So now you're going to mess their life up, right? It takes a very, very mentally mature person to be like, man, like, I can't, I want this, but I'm kind of still over here right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm still over here right now. So to answer your question, Tony, I do believe that there's men and women who may know what they want, but they're just not mature enough yet to be able to sustain it. That's the word that I want to use, to be able to sustain it. They may be able to deal with it, deal with that person, for a little while, but then, that little devil on their shoulder just keep, messing things up. But you have to know when that person comes, and you have to even ask yourself, am I willing to let go of all of that so that I don't mess this up with this particular person, because I know that this is who I want. You have to really, really buckle down and ask yourself those hard questions when you know that person is right in front of your face. That is everything that you want and pray for. So again, it just really, really boils down to being mature enough to recognize it.
Derek, you want to go to a video, or
I think Tamika wanted to say something, and if Kiki needs to say something after her, cool. And then we can once they're finished, then we can see what we got left.
I just wanted to chime in. I think Tony, first of all, I think that's pretty dope because a lot of people are not willing to be honest enough to say, hey, you know, had I met this person at this point in time in my life, I would have totally been like a Tasmanian devil. I ain't calling you no Tasmanian devil. You my brother. You know I'm just joking. I think people love the idea of a person, but when the reality of what it takes, the maturity level, the work that it takes to have that person in their lives, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. I understand at this point in time, maybe I wasn't quite ready for this person. And I think a lot of the times that's what people deal with. They like the idea of who she is, or they like the idea of who he is, but what it takes to walk the path with that person, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm not quite ready. And only the mature at heart is able to say, wait a minute, I will mess this up if I continue on. But there aren't a lot of people who are willing to be honest enough to say, hey, I'm really honestly not man. I'm not ready for this. I can't be who you need me to be. I can't walk this path with you, and vice versa, and leave that person whole. They'll, I think I seen a meme the other day. It's like, girl, how your relationship going? It's like 5 years down the line, and she looking like, you know, she just stuck her finger in the socket. It's like, you know, wait a minute. It just, it's not going so well. And that typically happens because, yeah, I like the idea of who this woman is. And I would love to have her on my journey, but not a lot of people are mature enough to say, I'm not ready for this type of person. First of all, I'm not even on the journey myself. Therefore, I can't bring you on this journey with me because I'm not mature enough. I haven't evolved enough.
I have a quick question though.
Hold on, T. Watts. We had to defer to the ladies on the ladies' night. Kiki, you got anything you want to add?
Not so much. Tony can go ahead and say, or Derek can go ahead and say what
Okay, that's cool. All right, T. Watts, you got it.
All right, so I guess I can ask you. So here's a scenario. The person that what Angie was talking about, and I guess Tony Massey, you find the person, you know you're not ready, right? And you decide to, I'm gonna let you go because I'm not ready. So I gotta get myself together. Is that person allowed to come back when they do have themselves together?
So I wouldn't say that I was mature enough to say, hey, I'm not ready for you yet, but find me in 10 years when I get my stuff together and me and you can. I don't think I was there yet. I think on either a subconscious or not, on a subconscious level, I had an idea of what I wanted one day, but I knew that I couldn't pursue it in that at that time. So I dated. So I went through it, to be transparent. I went through a try to say it the right way, a rescue phase, because there was a lot of brokenness inside of me, right? And suffering from the childhood traumas and PTSD, I did not want to focus on the brokenness in me. So instead, I focused on pursuing, like, really looking for broken women who would see me and my efforts to fix them as opportunities to feed my hero complex, right? So I literally went after those, little birds with the broken wings so that I can, love them and put them back together, and they would all fly away, right? Or they would resent me for my efforts in trying to fix them because I was highlighting the fact that they were broken. And then, of course, my brokenness would start becoming a topic of discussion at that point. So to answer your question, if I was at a place where I could say, I'm not ready for you, but one day I will be, yes. But even then, I can't help but wonder, am I mature enough to be able to handle the fact that in the 10 years of me maturing, you lived? Am I okay with, you know what? I'm not. I'll tell you why. I dated a girl a woman in school, and I was a beast in school. I was horrible. Met her later in life. She had 2 kids and an ex-husband, and I could not get past it. I could not get past the fact that she lived in my absence. And I know that sounds horrible, but that's my truth. And then when we talk about who we dated, I found out that she dated people that we knew, and I could not get past that either. So if I'm honest, I don't know that I had reached that level of maturity, and I thank God that I don't have to assess that now, where not her past. I can not worry about a woman's past because I wasn't there for it. But when your past intersects with our past, that gap, I don't know that I'm mature enough to say I'm gonna forget about that, because I still see it as time spent apart from me as opposed to time before me. Like BC as opposed to without me. So that's my truth.
All right, so I'm kind of directing the question toward the women, right? If a guy that you met said, "Listen, I need to get myself together before before I talk to you, because you're a quality woman and you need X, Y, Z," would you allow him to come back, say 6 months to a year later?
Probably not for me. And that's heavy on the probably not. You said 6 months to a year. Here's the thing. The determining factor for that, Tony, would be if I even still want him 6 months to a year. I might be with somebody else. You know what I mean? Because I'm definitely not waiting. I'm definitely not waiting. Right? So, heavy on the probably. I don't think so. Because again, I know that I'm not going to wait, and I may have moved on and be with somebody else that may be 10 times better than who he is. So he had his chance, but that's just my thought process though. So with that, I'll land.
I would have to say no, I guess. It just really depends. I mean, if 6 months to a year we bump into each other again and I'm single and he's single and things are different, maybe. I wouldn't mind looking into it, but I'm with Angie. I'm not gonna sit around and wait for you to decide. I mean, anything can happen in 6 months. I can meet 4 more guys, who knows? I mean, I'm not trying to deliberately go out and meet a bunch of guys, but if I do, I can't sit around. I had one gentleman actually, when I was dating him, tell me he was going somewhere. And we checked back in 3 months. I was like, yeah, okay. No. So never mind. I changed my answer back to no. I'm not gonna do it.
Y'all know I find everything funny. I mean, if I'm available at that time and I'm still interested, yeah, I would say yes. If I'm not available, then clearly it will be a no. I don't think that I would overcomplicate that. If we are in a place and, the opportunity presents itself, I'm available and, it works, cool. But if I'm not, then I'm not. What about you? Okay, so Paul, can I ask, the men, that same situation, let's throw the ball back in your court. What would be your thoughts on that if a woman says, hey, I think you're an amazing guy. I think you are, A, B, C, and D. I just don't think that I'm in that place right now for you. I don't think I can be the help meet that you possibly need for me to be. Give me some time. Would you be okay with it?
For me, if I was, and it's going to sound similar to some things that you ladies even said, but let's say 3 months later, I would be, if I'm single, you're single. It depends on what your issues were initially, because on the comeback, if we're both single, you're going to be on probation. I need evidence of change, and then we can move forward. It's not gonna be harsh, but it depends on what that thing is. Like you could be like, yeah, you know what, I'm toxic as hell, but I'm working on myself. In 3 months, I'm gonna come back from the therapist, and then let's see where we at. I don't know. It depends on what it is. It depends on how light it is. But if it's something that it's really not working, and you like, I'm working on myself, and 6 months later, can we work? You're gonna get put on some probation. Like let's hang out. But I got one eye open, because if the old you is still present, it's still not gonna work. I don't know that just because you said it. So I'm gonna land there.
That's a tough question, man. I am a self-admitted sucker for love. So there's a show that I was watching. Don't be nodding your head like that, Tony. Tony, why I see up there? Stop it. There's a show I was watching, and
twins, son, twins.
They had a major relationship conflict, man, and she left and did 10 months of therapy and all this, and they ended up getting back together. And I was just like, oh man, that's so dope. But when I apply that to real life, I don't think in principle I would be like, I'm gonna wait around for you to come back. But if we both single and interested, let's go for it. But I do know from experience that it hasn't necessarily worked out well to circle the wagons for me. I've had those opportunities, and I think one of the things, just me personally, that has been frustrating with that situation is that in the original encounter, I brought the heat, I applied pressure, and when they come back, they kind of expect that we're just gonna pick up from there. But I'm like, nah, I'm winner chicken dinner now. Like, you got to apply the pressure, because I already showed you what I was talking about, and now you come back like I'm just average. Nah, you wanted to come back to me, so show me you serious. So that's kind of where I am with it.
I'm at the same place as John. I would look at the opportunity, but it will, because I think we're dealing with all of our thought processes that the person left on some type of terms of, they hurt my feelings, like they were doing something toxic. I'm talking about somebody that you had communication with, and they understood their pattern of behavior was wrong. So if I'm single at that particular time and they return and all their behaviors are different, like Derek said, you're gonna be on some. There has to be a trial period. We have to talk about what therapy look like, what your growth period looks like, and but I would entertain it. I would definitely entertain it.
So I'm gonna go against the grain, and I don't know if this has ever happened. No, my ego can't handle it, and I'm gonna be really transparent and honest, because what I hear is, I need to go do this without you, and I can't. I'm not willing to trust you to be near me while I go through this process. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying that's what I hear, and that may speak to my lack of maturity in that area. But all I would hear is rejection. And so if you came back to me 6 months later, all shiny and new, and I'm fixed, and let's do this now, nah, I'm good, because we could have done this, and you could have found a way to do this with me, at least in the peripheral. You didn't have to, completely separate yourself from me in order to do that. Is that right? No, I admit it. I admit that this is not, the best place to fix yourself is by yourself. But I'm being honest, how my ego works, I would not be able to get past the rejection of you saying, I need to do this alone. Then you know what? Stay alone, or at least stay without me.
Tamika, you can just jump in.
Yes,
you don't have to raise your hand. Just jump in.
Yo, I think that's dope. That was my first mind, Tony, to be really honest with you. I was kind of like, man, but that would make me feel like you don't trust me to be able to handle. Okay, so here we have we got an issue. how many people are willing to be there to, help or walk through somebody's processes. I mean, it could be financial. It don't even have to be toxic behavior. You feel what I'm saying? We automatically go to like the worst, but maybe it's not, maybe it's not childhood trauma. Maybe it's like, hey, I just don't feel like, I said that before. Maybe I don't feel like, I'm on the same level with you when it comes to finances or when it comes to things like that. And I'm like, man, I'm glad that you said that, Tony, because I was thinking that too, like, dang, but you wouldn't trust me to be able to, not judge you. Maybe I could assist. Maybe I could give you some great, teaching you to maybe some great pointers, some things that I did. Because how I haven't been in that same place that you've been in. I've just, grown from there. So I think I don't think that's immature at all, Tony. I think that's the empath in me, though. I think when you're empathetic, you kind of will say, hey, well, why do you gotta go away and hide and tuck your tail and come out the cave and figure it out over there by yourself? Why not? But that takes a level of vulnerability. And society tells us you can't be vulnerable. You gotta be 100% healed and you can't have no flaws and you can't trust anybody. It's just like society has told us, hey, you can't be that vulnerable with someone. So that's a topic of discussion.
But Derek, right before you jump in, but what if it's not about you? What if it's not about what if my healing is not about you? It's about me having to go off to the place by myself to do the healing alone. Like, yeah, maybe you could help me, but maybe you can't. So why put you through the torture or the eventual heartbreak of trying to heal things that I know I need to be separate from people to heal? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, we sometimes we take things on, like we take it personal, like somebody's going to do something to better themselves, but why can't I help? Sometimes you can't help. So I just want to put that out there. I'm not disagreeing with anybody. I'm just putting it out there. Sometimes it's just like we told the young lady about asking the question if somebody ghosted her, like so they can improve themselves. Maybe it's just not about you. Maybe it's just about the person that needs space to grow in a certain area. I just wanted to bring that up.
I don't, and Kiki, let me say this, and then I'll please you take the.
No, but
I don't want to help you heal. I just don't want to be removed from your life while you do it. Let me be there, even with boundaries. Hey, look, I need some time to take care of this thing that I need to take care of. I need you to stay in the peripheral spaces of my life. We can't date. We're not going to sleep together. We're not going to be intimate, but I still want you there, not to heal me, but to support me through the process. I think that it's a fallacy to believe that you can do it alone. What's the saying? If you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go with someone else, right? That's the part that would hurt my feelings or have me in my feelings and make me not want to pursue this anymore, because you thought it's better for me to go into this cave as opposed to at least having a support system that I have access to. And you assume that this is going to be trauma for me. I'm volunteering for this. Don't put burdens on me that don't necessarily exist. Go ahead, Kiki.
Okay, I'm sorry, Kiki. I just want to explain something. I really apologize for this. What I'm trying to get us to understand is that sometimes people have a level of dependency on people helping them get through their healing period. So while you're helping me, I am fake falling in love with you because you're around, right? So now that I've got myself together, maybe I don't like you anymore. Maybe there's some things that you help me through. When they say about the nurse or something, or doctor, when they help you heal, you have that connection with them because they helped you heal, right? So what if that becomes a problem because you're around? What if I just need some space, right, to heal myself and then come back without having I don't want to have any false attachments because you were there. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm confused. How long
Me too.
are we talking about here? Like, are we talking about in a relationship or are we talking about dating? Because
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it would be a relationship period. Like you guys are seeing each other 6-7 months. And
okay.
Right. I'm not saying in the first 3 weeks, 2 months. This is some time together.
Okay, so then I retract my first answer because I was thinking dating or something. I was like, well, no, if you're gonna date me and you want to go figure stuff out, then by all means, go ahead. I'm not gonna be around in 6 months. Now, when you're in a relationship, that may be different. Yeah, I think I would stay to. Well, I'm with Tony up there. Like, why wouldn't you want to work something out, or figure things out while we're together in some sort of capacity? Like that would then make sense to me. Then yes, I would agree with Tony to where, why wouldn't you want to go through this with me? Why wouldn't you want me somehow there, in the vicinity where I can either help you or we can overcome this together, versus just shutting me out and saying, well, I don't need you for this. Let's separate and let's go our separate ways. Because what happens now? Let's ask another question within that. Let's say you do say, okay, I'm okay with you going to find yourself and then coming back in 6 months, and I'm gonna sit here and wait. What happens if you decide that in this time that you're figuring yourself out, you sleep with other people or you date other people? How does that now go back?
I wouldn't expect, and let me make this clear. I wouldn't expect somebody to wait for somebody during that period. They have to understand, them going off to self-heal doesn't mean I'm waiting for you. If we meet again, like we said earlier, and we're both single, then okay, let's try it out. But if we're not single, like if I moved on and you found someone else and all that other stuff, we just keep it moving.
Go ahead, Tamika.
Can I say something? Okay, so you be telling me you ain't know you needed to self-heal before we got 6 months, 8 months into the relationship. Like, do you just wake up and decide, oh, I need to go back into the cave and heal? Like, I think sometimes people, will. It is almost like I can see it. It's almost like it's an excuse. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like I think it's an excuse. I think it's an excuse to isolate. I think a lot of times people use that as an excuse to completely isolate, and then I think that becomes a security issue for yourself. You're not really secure in who you are, and so what begins to happen is a lot of people will self-destruct on their own and use healing. I got to go heal. I just hearing 8 months, 6 months into a relationship, you just woke up one morning and decided that I need to go into the cave and heal. I wouldn't buy that. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be looking at you like you got a 2-head monster sitting on your shoulders, like you just woke up. You just realized that you needed to heal 6, 8 months into the relationship, and so you want to out the relationship so that you can go isolate and be by yourself to heal. I mean, for me, I don't know. I would. It just wouldn't make sense to me that we wouldn't be able to do that together, or you would want to just exit the whole relationship because you decided that you needed to privately heal. And maybe am I missing something?
No, and at this point, wouldn't you be broken up with each other, right? Because you're saying if and when in 6 months. So you're breaking up with me is what you're doing. Like, what else could you be doing?
Right.
To tell me I don't want to be with you anymore. I have some issues that I got to take care of, and you clearly aren't going to help any of this. Because that's what I'm hearing. At this point, 6 months into it, like, say that again?
It's an echo because Tony Watts is off mic.
Sorry.
So look, I want to
say Kiki was arguing with herself. Don't talk when I'm talking.
So look, here's the thing. Now that I have the context, I'm your man, right? We together. Because before it was like, oh, we're just seeing each other. That's how I was thinking. And you was like, hold on, before we get too close, I need some time. And then you come. That's where I was at. If I'm your man, then let's do like I'm here. If you say I gotta go, then we gotta keep it moving. Like there's that right there. Like you said, it's an excuse. Now that I have the context, yeah, my answer changes now because I was saying probation period because I'm like, we just getting to know each other. You can go have fun. And if in 10 years, if you come back and we both single, I'm gonna find out if you toxic or not. We gonna take some time, but if I'm your man, then we gotta, I'm gonna have to do what I gotta do to I'm gonna go to the doctor with you. I'm gonna go do what we gotta do to make it happen. If you say, well, I gotta go do it by myself, have fun with Tony or whoever it is, or Billy or whoever the hell it is, because something else is driving you over there. It ain't you healing.
Well, I understand the desire.
What he said, yeah.
But I understand the desire for healing in solitude because there's no one there to challenge the thoughts, the images, the progress or whatever. The thing about a relationship is once you get in one, you learn more about yourself than you learn about the other person, right? And a lot of the conflict that is created between two people in a relationship has nothing to do with the other person. It's suddenly you can't live in the comfort of your own lies that you've been telling yourself this whole time. For years, I thought that I was a very empathetic, kind and nice person. Turns out I'm an asshole. And my wife is the one that brought that to my attention, and not in a mean way, but just in our conversations, my ability to empathize with people isn't as strong as I thought it was, because my cutoff game is just epic. Whereas she sees the benefit of doubt in almost, every situation where I'm like, nah, you lying. You know what I mean? I'm just, so to go off by yourself is to go into a place where you're not being challenged and your process is not being critiqued or criticized. And so there's comfort in that. But if we're in a relationship, unfortunately, you don't, in my opinion, you don't get that luxury. You should have done that. Like Tamika said, you should have done that before we met, because now that we're here, I'm your man. Like Derek said, I'm your man. And so when you go through this process, you go through this with me, and you're going to look not just at the mirror that you've decided is the one in the house that you look good in, but you also need to go into the bathroom mirror that you don't like and look at that one too, because the reality is that that's a more accurate reflection. And so sometimes your partner can be a better reflection than your own mind. You know what I'm saying? Your own preconceived notions about yourself. I mean, all of us have met people who thought they looked good, and you're like, what? You did? I'm gonna land there.
So this is what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna wrap this up, because y'all got bedtimes. Nah, we gonna wrap this up. We normally go an hour and a half. We're a little overtime now, and I know, we've been on here for a while. We gonna, overtime.
We need a part two.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I will discuss that with the council and see what we come up with, and we will figure that out. But yes, this was good. This was a good exchange, and we definitely need to do a part two. I was just about to say that we're gonna have y'all back in some way, shape, or form, because this was an excellent panel. And we're gonna wrap it up. Anybody have any last little whatever? I know we're gonna go back through the ladies again, just in case somebody want to find them, or if you want to be found. Everybody good? Okay. So ladies, I'm gonna go start with Tamika. Just let everybody know where they can find you. Like I said, if you want to be found.
So you guys can find me. This has been so much fun. I love y'all, man. So you guys can find me. My Instagram plug is blinkmeat_lashbar, and I am also creating me 33 on Instagram. Of course, one is my business, one is my personal, and that's where you can find me on social media. I also do a live Facebook. It's called On the Table. I'm getting the logistics and the marketing for that up to date. So you can find me there here soon.
All right, Kiki.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram. I was gonna say YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. It's Kiki, KIKI_20. The zeros are O's.
And Angie.
You all can find me on all of my platforms if you simply just go to www.angieology.com. That is ANGIEOLOGY.com. And you will see everything there that I have going on, as well as all of my platforms. So again, that's www.angieology.com.
All right, gentlemen. We just gonna go around the gentlemen. If y'all got anything y'all need to push this week or not, or you can just say I pass. John.
Nah, I ain't got nothing, man. I pass.
All right, Tony Massey. Okay, Tony Watts.
This Saturday night, 8:00, myself and Erica from Dope Discussions will have a conversation. 8:00 on Triumphant TV. Come check us out. We're gonna have a nice little chat.
Cool. Let me put this up real quick here. Boom, boom, bam. All right. And you can find us all. I'm gonna say mine in a minute, but you can find us all of our profiles on realshoptalk.net. For me, Relationship Gumbo podcast Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Once you click on my profile, you can click the link in the bio. But this Wednesday, I also have Erica from Dope Discussions on my show, along with Bernadette Jackson, and we are going to talk about how the little kid in you is still making decisions for you as an adult. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to do a deep dive. So make sure you check that out. And just follow us, and you'll see how we're moving out here. So on that note, thank you much, ladies. This was amazing. I'm sure everybody agrees. And like you said, we probably gonna have to do a part 2. So stay tuned for that. And I'm gonna be in some DMs for some show guests. So y'all stay tuned for that. So yeah, we good. So make sure when you do go to the realshoptalk.net to follow our YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the thumbs up tonight if you like. I see a few thumbs. I need a few more thumbs up there if you like the content tonight. And we just gonna close out. I want everybody to have an amazing evening, amazing rest of the week. Happy New Year, all that good stuff. And we out of here.